Welcome back to Food and Fragrance, guys. Today, we're taking it a little old school. This cologne came out in 1989. Let's see. I was, well, you're gonna know my age now, but I was 3 years old when this cologne came out. And believe it or not, it's still selling, not the way it used to, but it's still selling pretty decent for a cologne that's 29, was it 29, 20 years old, almost 30 years old. And that cologne is Joop L'Homme. Look at this dinosaur. This is actually not one of my favorite scents, but it has that, it doesn't smell like your grandfather, or it doesn't smell like something your uncle would wear. It smells like something okay, well, you know what? I lied. Your uncle might wear this. Your cool uncle who might still wear the 3-button shirt with the taco meat showing, he's gonna wear this. But believe it or not, I haven't worn this in a while. I think I wore it maybe 2 years ago. And I was getting compliments from people in my age group. So it's still a good scent. House of Joop, and they have a couple other scents also. I have 2 more of those scents that I'll review in a later video, and they came out, fairly recently. But like I said, 1989. It's like a fresh Oriental scent. Some of the notes that Joop, well, actually I think I'm saying it wrong. I think it's pronounced Joop. Some people say Joop. If you say Joop, people are like, oh yeah, that's an old school scent. I know all about that. But if you say Joop, people are like, what is Joop? Well, that is it a food? Sounds like a food. I believe the proper pronunciation is Joop. Don't quote me on that. Joop. The notes in here, some of the first notes when you first spray it on, you got bergamot, cinnamon, and bergamot is one of the more popularly used notes in a lot of colognes. It's like one of those universal notes, like using salt and pepper. People will usually use bergamot in their scents. Bergamot, there's some cinnamon in here. I'm not getting any cinnamon, so you're not gonna get overwhelmed with cinnamon. Orange blossom, that's what gives it that little kick of citrus, that orange blossom in there. Jasmine, very little. It's a very little note. Sandalwood, and as you're starting to dry down in your middle notes, well, sandalwood's gonna come in the middle note. After about 2 hours, that you're gonna get that sandalwood with some vetiver, patchouli, a little bit of amber. Now, these next 3 notes are very, very subtle. When I say subtle, I mean unless you're up close to me, giving me a hug, you're not going to really smell it. But there is some amber in there. I think I said already, amber. You will get a lot of tobacco from this also. Tobacco does come out of this at about the 4-hour mark. And when it's dried down, it's on your skin really well, that tobacco really comes out. That's almost what you smell the most. Besides this next note and the last note, musk. This is musky. This is very musky. That's where you get that stereotype of my dad or my uncle or my grandfather might like this. One, I'm gonna tell you something. This is not Stetson. This is not high karate. You're not gonna. This doesn't remind you of. Okay, it will remind you of Stetson when you first spray it. That first spray. Really, not really. I mean, once it's on your skin, you get that musky, and that musk lasts the whole time. Some of these scents, some of these notes do die down after you first spray it on, and after a couple hours and it dries down, you get that second or that middle note and your bottom note. A lot of those notes do get pretty subtle, but that musk is around the whole time. And I'm laughing because a lot of people, you know, in the younger age range, between the ages of 20 and 35, 40, when they hear musk, the first thing they think of is Stetson. All the time. And it's a stereotype. Oh, if it's musky, I'll get it from my dad, or I'll get it for my uncle or something. Trust me, younger generations do still appreciate Joop, or Joop, whatever you want to say, whatever. It's still a good fragrance. You know, you've seen your 360. It's a good bottle. The top is like a plum color almost. It's a plum color. The fluid, right, like a pinkish, you know, depending on how you look in the light of it. It's like a dark pink. And of course, on the front, you got Joop Loam. Of course, if a lot of you don't know, when you see, some people say Homme, Homme, it's actually pronounced Loam. Pretend there's an L in there. It's pronounced Loam, and that just means it's for a man. You know, if you see Loam, it's a man's fragrance. This is actually the 2.5 fluid ounce. This is one of the smaller bottles, and price points for this size bottle go for around, you can get it really cheap. This bottle right now, you get it for almost $15, between $13, $14, $15. There is a 4.2 ounce you can get between $18.99 and $22. And some online stores do sell this 6.7 ounce for roughly $25 to $30. The problem is you're not going to find this in too many stores. The only stores I've seen that sell this are Rite Aid, Walgreens, and there's another stereotype that if a cologne goes and gets sold in Walmart or Rite Aid or Walgreens, it's a dead cologne, it's no good. That's not true, because I've seen some decent colognes and perfumes in some of these big box stores that aren't Macy's or, you know, Neiman Marcus or Sephora. But like I said, the biggest bottle goes for up to $30. I've seen it for $25.99, but the biggest bottle, the 6.7 ounce, is up to $30. And I said this is the 2.5 fluid ounce bottle. Okay. Now, let's talk about scoring. I'm sure y'all want to hear this one. All right. What should we start with first? Let's go with longevity. How long does cologne last on your skin? This cologne for me, Joop, lasted for me about 4.5 hours, between 4 and 5 hours. So it's got decent longevity. So 4. I'm gonna give it a 4. It's not perfect, but it's not, like you see in my previous videos, it's not enough for me to give it a 5, because like I said before, for me to give a cologne a 5 in longevity, it needs to be projecting off of me at least by 6 hours. And I got some colognes I'm going to review that are considered projection monsters, that project for up to 10 hours, and we'll do some of those. And you're going to pay for a little bit more for those, and there are actually some cheap colognes that do last that time period, but typically the more expensive, more niche, more exclusive fragrances will last between 6 and 10. But this only gets a 4 because it's not going up my skin at 6 hours. Let's see, what's next? Projection. How far away from me are you going to be to smell this fragrance? Well, I'll say this. When I first put this on, between hours 1 and 3, it's a projection monster. The room is going to smell you. And this bottle right here is about, I've had this about, let me see, I think I got this bottle in 2014. So I've had this bottle 5 years, and typically as colognes age, they start to lose their strength. That happens if you're not storing them properly. You know, if they're in a hot room, and a really humid room with a lot of humidity, they're going to lose their strength. But of course, all of mine are stored the proper way. I keep mine in my bedroom. They're on a big black bookshelf, and no light gets to them. It doesn't really get really hot in there in the summertime. But projection, this gets a 5, a whole 5, because this does project very well for the majority of its lifespan on your skin. It does. Someone comes around you, if they come within 10 feet of you and you walk past, that air is going to hit them. Projection monster. Compliments. Now this is where it gets a little iffy. Compliments, like I said earlier, people will still comment on this, but they're not commenting on it like some newer, more modern fragrances. I will get compliments from it, but not like I will anything else. People might think I'm wearing Stetson because they don't know it. They smell that musk. First thing I think of is, that's gotta be Stetson. How old is he? You know? So, compliment factor, unfortunately, is going to get a 3. It's getting a 3 because it does still get compliments, and if it wasn't as old as it was, it would probably get a 2. But because it's such an old fragrance and it still gets some compliments, it's worthy of a 3. So, should you get Joop? Well, this is one of those colognes that usually I would say, you know, it's all about your personal preference. What do you like? But Joop is one of those acquired tastes. Like, you have to like a certain kind of cologne. You definitely have to like muskier scents in order to like this. But if not, I mean, my opinion is my opinion. If you like musky scents with a dash of some modern, like I said, the bergamot's in there, the jasmine's in there, the sandalwood is definitely there, the tobacco is there after about your 4th or 5th hour wearing it, but the musk is there the whole time. And if you don't like muskier scents, if you can't put up with a musky scent, this is not for you. Okay? So, Joop. And this bottle right here, the batch code number is 07779. I no longer have the box. Actually, I think I just lied to you. Yeah, that is the batch code number. Yeah, it's on there. That's the batch code number. One way to know if your cologne is old or not, or when you can see when it was made, you can take that batch number, and I'll leave a website. If I don't get it in this video, I'll leave it in the next one. The website you can go to, and you choose the name brand. So this will be Joop. The actual house is called Joop, and this is just their Joop cologne. You can put that name of that manufacturer in, and you type in your batch code. It'll tell you when this specific bottle was manufactured. So let's say you go to one of those little bodegas in the mall, and no, not Macy's or a big store, one of those little middle stores in the mall. Be careful with them. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes you can get lucky and get a good bottle that might be just about a year or 2 old. But sometimes they do get bottles that are 3, 4, 5 years old. They get old stock. They pay pennies on the dollar for them, and they sell them almost close to retail. That's why they will say, "Oh, you pay cash, we'll give you a little bit of money off." Because for this, let's say for talk's sake, this bottle is $50 in Macy's. They'll buy it for probably $20, charge $60, and then they'll say, "Oh, okay, if you pay cash," or "Oh, I know you, I do a good deal for you." They'll get it down to like $20, $30 or $20, $30 off, because they buy old stock bottles, or they may buy sample bottles that, you know, every store is given so many bottles to use as samples. The ones they don't sell, or the ones they never put out, they'll give them to the stores, and those are the ones you get lucky with, because those are probably never used. But sometimes these little bodega stores will buy old stock bottles, so always check your batch codes if you buy from them. And also, when you go to these Macy's stores, Macy's, Sephora, and Neiman Marcus, check the batch codes with them too, because a lot of times people will try to scam these stores, and they'll go to Macy's, they'll buy a bottle of something for the full retail price. They'll go to one of these bodegas, get it for probably half off, take it home, switch the bottles, and return that bottle to Macy's and get some of their money back. And now at that point, that bottle in that box does not, that batch code does not match that box. That's your little tip right there. No matter where you buy cologne from, online, Macy's, the bodega stores, always check your batch code. It always should match the box. They're always stamped on the bottle and on the box. Okay? Now, where are we going to eat today? Because I know this is some of y'all favorite part. We are going to Salsa Grill. That's over in Woodlawn, Baltimore County, West Baltimore County. And when I tell you they have this paella, look at that. So paella is a Caribbean dish. It's mostly seafood. Different countries make it different ways. This place makes, well, we'll talk about it when we get there, but if you love seafood, if you like seafood, you will love paella. So be right back. I will see you at Salsa Grill. Whew. It's like somebody's granddaddy. Salsa Grill. I've been coming here about 2 years. I always get the same thing. Sorry, it's a little loud in here. But I always get the same thing. That's the paella. Now, different countries have different variations of paella. Most of them, they're all seafood. Some of them will do squid. Some will do mussels on top. And some will keep it pretty simple. This one here has shrimp, chicken, rice, sausage. I think the sausage is the best part because it's mostly seafood, except for the chicken and the sausage. But the sausage really, it pops. It gives you that little bit of flavor variation of something different. Give onions on top. So what I said shrimp. I said shrimp, chicken, sausage, onions, some peppers. What else we got in here? I feel like I'm missing something. Just get some peas in here. Really good. Now I do prefer to have the mussels on top. So like I said, different countries do it different ways. I know most Caribbean countries, they will add scallops. They will do. My grandfather used to always make it, and he would put the mussels on top with like some squid, with some scallops. But this one here is not. So it's a different countries make it different ways. Really good. Yep, that's everything I mentioned. So Salsa Grill, leave the address below. There's nobody here who wanted to go on camera and do a cologne review of Joop. So this is via food. We'll talk about the food today. But like I said, everything is cooked perfectly. Here's some of the shrimp right there. Focus. Very good. It's located on Security Boulevard in Woodlawn area, which is, for those of you that don't know, it's West Baltimore County. And I believe it's, so you can get two sizes. You get a regular size, which is the one I got, and you can get a larger size. Now, the larger size it's huge. It's well, for me, it's, I like to eat, so for me it's not a big deal. But the large size is probably for like you and somebody else. Put it on the plate, and you're good to go. So, but yeah, check them out. It's really good. And it's Food and Fragrance signing out.